What if I told you that the kindest thing you did today, releasing that little 4-inch perch, was the very reason the 30-pound pike you came for will never bite your lure? Today, we're not talking about lures, rods, or fancy electronics. We're talking about the invisible signals happening under the water that you might be sending by accident. And I promise you, by the end of this video, you'll look at every small fish you catch in a completely different and much more strategic way. This is the hidden reason why your hotspot suddenly goes ice cold. Let me ask you this right now. Do you think a tiny fish can really scare off a monster predator? Let me know what you think down below before you watch the rest. For years, we've all operated on a simple principle. Find the baitfish, find the pike. It makes perfect sense. Pike are predators. They go where the food is. So what do? We get to a spot, we see baitfish on the sonar, or we catch a small perch. We think, great, I'm in the right place. We unhook the little guy, toss him back, and start casting for the monster we know is lurking nearby. But we've been missing a crucial piece of the puzzle. We've been thinking like hunters, but we haven't been thinking about the survival instincts of the prey, or the extreme caution of an old, wise predator that has seen it all before. Let's set the scene. Picture this. It is just after dawn. The mist is burning off the water, and the surface is like a sheet of dark glass. You've been planning this trip for weeks, targeting a specific weed line where you know a true giant lives. You make a perfect cast with your favorite glide bait. Letting it hang in the strike zone, you feel a sense of absolute confidence. The conditions are perfect, you are in the right place at the right time. This is the moment you've been waiting for, the kind of morning that great fishing stories are made of. The world is quiet, and it feels like it's just you and the fish. Then you feel it. Not the freight train smash you were hoping for, but a distinct tap, tap, tap. You reel in, and, sure enough, you've hooked a small, ambitious perch, maybe 5 inches long. Now, your first reaction isn't disappointment, it's actually encouragement. This is a great sign, right? The canary in the coal mine. It confirms that there is life here. The food is in the restaurant, which means the big customer you're waiting for must be close by. This small catch reinforces your decision to be in this spot, and it boosts your confidence even higher. You think to yourself, okay, now it's time for his bigger brother to show up. So you do what any responsible angler would do. You handle the little perch quickly and carefully. You use your pliers to gently remove the hook, trying to cause as little harm as possible. Maybe you admire its colors for a second, a perfect miniature predator. Then you lean over the side of the boat and release it back into the water. It sits stunned for a half second, then with a flick of its tail, it darts away into the depths. You have done your good deed for the day. You've returned the bait to the water, and now you're ready to get back to the serious business of hunting the monster. You pick up your rod, your confidence at an all-time high, and you make another cast into the exact same spot. You work your lure perfectly through the water column, but nothing happens. You cast again and again. For the next 30 minutes, you throw everything in your tackle box at that spot. But it's like a switch has been flipped. The area that felt so alive and full of potential just a short while ago is now completely, utterly dead. The silence is deafening. You start to second-guess yourself. Was it the lure? Did the sun come out? What just happened here? Here is the myth that almost every single one of us believes. We've been told for generations that the commotion of catching a small fish is like ringing a dinner bell for bigger predators. The theory is that other fish, especially big pike, see or sense a struggling, wounded fish in the area and are drawn in to investigate. They think it is an easy meal, a free lunch. We have all seen it in nature documentaries. Predators are opportunistic. They target the weak and the injured. So logically, a small perch fighting on the line should be the ultimate advertisement that food is available. And let's be fair, for a certain class of pike, this myth is actually true. For the young, aggressive, and frankly, not so bright pike in the 15 to 25-inch range, this commotion can absolutely trigger a response. These are the teenagers of the lake. They are reckless, full of energy, and their hunger often outweighs their caution. They might very well rush in to see what all the fuss is about, hoping to steal a meal. So if you're just out to catch any pike, this theory can sometimes hold up. But that is not why we are here, is it? We are not on the water at 5 in the morning to catch teenagers. We are hunting for a legend. The wise old monster of the lake. The 40-inch-plus queen that has seen every lure and every trick in the book. A fish that old did not reach that size by being reckless or stupid. She got there by being cautious, by learning from every single encounter with danger. Her entire existence is a masterclass in risk assessment. She survives by trusting her instincts above all else, and her instincts are far more complex than simply see struggling fish, eat struggling fish. She is playing a different game entirely. Now we get to the science. When you catch that small perch, it experiences extreme stress and fear. In response, its skin cells release a specific set of chemicals into the water. This is an evolutionary defense mechanism found in many baitfish species. In the scientific community, it is often called an alarm substance, or, by its German name, Schreckstoff, which literally translates to scare stuff. This is not a subtle scent. It is a powerful, unmistakable signal that is designed to be detected by every other fish of the same species in the immediate vicinity. It is a biological scream for help. And you have to understand what this signal actually communicates. This chemical alarm is not a dinner bell, it is a blaring fire alarm. It carries a very specific and urgent message to every other baitfish in the area. The message is danger. A predator is actively and successfully hunting right here, right now. Run for your lives. It is the aquatic equivalent of a gazelle screaming as a lion takes it down on the savannah. It is a pure, primal warning of imminent death, and it is designed to trigger an immediate and panicked flight response in the rest of the school. Think about it in human terms. If you were walking through a quiet shopping mall and suddenly someone in a store started screaming in terror, what would you do? You would not calmly walk into that store to see what they were screaming about. You would turn around and walk, or even run, in the opposite direction. You would get out of there. The baitfish do the exact same thing. The moment they detect that chemical alarm, the entire school either scatters in every direction, seeking the deepest cover they can find, or they dive to the bottom and freeze, becoming completely inactive. Now let's switch perspectives. Put yourself in the mind or the fins of that monster pike we are hunting. She was there the whole time, lurking in the shadows of the weed line, completely invisible. She was patiently watching that school of perch, waiting for one to get a little too bold, a little too far from the group. She was calculating her attack, conserving her energy, and waiting for the absolute perfect moment to strike. From her point of view, everything was calm, the buffet was open, and the food was relaxed and unaware of her presence. Then all of a sudden, two things happen at once. First, she detects that powerful chemical alarm signal in the water. Her ancient predatory brain instantly recognizes it as a sign of a successful attack. Simultaneously, she sees the school of perch she was stalking either explode into a panicked frenzy and vanish, or lock down tight to the bottom and stop moving. The entire body language of her hunting ground has instantly changed. It has gone from a relaxed, all-you-can-eat buffet to a high-alert, active crime scene in a matter of seconds. An old wise pike does not process this information and think, "Oh boy, an easy meal must be nearby." Her survival instinct kicks in and her thought process is far more cautious. She thinks, something is wrong here. The prey is terrified. Another predator, perhaps one bigger and more efficient than me, like an otter or a human, is actively hunting in my spot. It becomes a simple calculation of risk versus reward. Why waste precious energy chasing panicked prey in a compromised area when she can simply retreat and wait for things to calm down or move to a safer spot? And it gets worse. Over her long life, that monster pike has learned to associate that specific chemical alarm with other unnatural signals of danger. She has learned that the scream of a baitfish is often followed by the strange splash of a lure, the threatening shadow of a boat passing overhead, or the low hum of a trolling motor. She connects that alarm cue directly to your presence. To her, it is not just a sign of a predator. It is a sign of the most dangerous and unpredictable predator of all, a human angler. You have just confirmed her worst fears. So, what have you accomplished? By catching and releasing that one small, panicked perch, you have effectively burnt the spot. You have sent a clear, powerful message to the very fish you were targeting. The message was, this area is no longer safe. It is compromised and a highly effective predator is here. In response to your unintentional warning, that big pike will do one of two things. She will either quietly slip away to a different part of her territory, or she will hunker down deep in the thickest cover, entering a completely negative feeding mood for the next several hours. And please do not think this is something that only happens with perch. This is a widespread biological mechanism. Roach, bream, rudd, shiners, and most other fish in the cyprinid family, the primary food source for pike in many waters, all release these powerful alarm pheromones. Every time you catch one of these small fish and release it back into the spot you are fishing, you are setting off a biological bomb. You are screaming danger in a language every fish understands, and you are doing it in the middle of your own hunting ground without even realizing it. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, but I've caught a big pike right after catching a small perch. And yes, of course, that can happen. Fishing is never a world of absolutes. But I would ask you to think back. Was that fish a true old monster, or was it a more common, aggressive 30-inch pike? There will always be exceptions to the rule. Maybe the wind and current were strong enough to dissipate the chemical signal quickly, but we are not here to fish for the 1 in 100 exception. We are here to play the percentages and maximize our chances of catching a true fish of a lifetime. So what is the practical solution here? Am I telling you to kill every small fish you catch? Absolutely not. Catch and release is vital for our sport, but you must start being more strategic. If you are hunting a trophy pike and you catch a small baitfish, you need to change your thinking. Instead of seeing it as a sign to stay, see it as a sign that you have likely just spooked the spot. The best move might be to simply move on. Go fish another area for an hour and let that spot calm down and reset itself. If you are in a situation where you cannot or do not want to leave the spot, there is another tactic you can use. Let's call it the relocation release. Instead of unhooking the small fish and dropping it right back over the side of the boat, take a moment. Put it in your live well or a bucket with some water. Then use your trolling motor or paddle to move a significant distance away, maybe 100 feet down the bank or out into open water. Release the fish there. This way, its alarm signals are released far away from the specific piece of structure you are trying to target. The fundamental takeaway from all of this is that you must start thinking beyond your lure and your rod. You need to think about the invisible underwater ecosystem and the powerful, silent signals you are sending into it. That tiny perch is not just a nuisance catch. It is a messenger. And for years, many of us have been unintentionally forcing it to deliver the absolute worst possible message to the exact fish we want to catch. The message has been, "Stay away." And the big pike have been listening. So let's bring this all together. The old, cherished belief that a struggling little fish is an automatic dinner bell is at best only half the story. For the truly massive, hyper-cautious pike that we all dream of, a released baitfish screaming with chemical alarms is not an invitation to feed. It's a bright red warning sign that shuts down the entire area. The real aha moment here, the big twist, is that your well-intentioned act of catch and release could be the very thing preventing your success in that specific spot at that specific time. You've been unknowingly telling the biggest fish in the lake to leave. This changes how you should approach your spots. It means a small fish isn't a sign to cast more. It might be a sign to rest the spot or move on entirely. Thank you for watching and for being open to a new perspective. If this blew your mind, or if you think it's complete nonsense, I want to hear about it. Hit that like button if you learned something new, and be sure to subscribe for more tips that challenge the old ways. Now here is my final question for you. Based on this, will you change how you handle small fish when you're hunting for a monster? Let's get a real discussion going in the comments.